I've had many God moments, but I would say my first God moment was when my mother passed away. My mom, she was a wonderful woman. I loved her so much. She was the person who I looked up to the most, just because of her work ethic and who she was. I was always around her. I remember just being young and just loving to be in her arms and just put my ear on her stomach and just hear the sounds of her stomach and just to hold her and I really glad she was part of my life for when she was. She passed away in February 1997. I was 17 years old. She was battling with cancer for about a year before she passed away. When she passed away, I didn't grieve like I was supposed to. I didn't let the emotions come out of me. People would come to the house bringing food, cards, money. Oh, we're sorry for your loss. If you need anything, if you need this, you need that. And at the time, I really wasn't feeling it. And I was just kind of going through the motions, just saying thank you and appreciate it. And yes, I'll call you if I need anything. And then, weeks after the passing of the funeral, that's when the phone calls stop and, people kind of don't really check on you as much. And, they move on to the next thing and things with their lives, which is understandable. And then you just kind of left with yourself and your thoughts in your head. At the time, I was still kind of grieving and I never really, really let it out. There was a program at the church I was getting ready for on Saturday. And I left something there on a Friday night. So I went back to church to get it. And it was raining. It was dark, pouring down rain. I think the rain was coming down almost sideways. So after I went into the church, I came back into the car. I was about to leave the parking lot, and there's this utility pole that's always been there, and I just happened to run smack dab into that utility pole. And at that moment, I didn't know what to do. The car was still in drive. I was some kind of able way to put it in park, and everything just came out of me at that moment. I just felt something come across me. It's like I just all this emotion came out, even though it was 2 months later after my mom passed away. Uh, it was I didn't. I was like, who should I call? What should I do? But I felt like God was talking to me in that moment to say, you need to grieve right now. You need to let this out. You don't have to be a man about it. So I just sat in the car and just cried and like I never cried before. I mean, snot's coming out my nose. I mean, I sat in the car and cried for, I'd say, at least 30 minutes in the rain. Um, and talked to God. I was telling him in the car, I was mad at him. I was cursing him out. I said, why would you want to take my mother away from me? I need her. I need that support system in my life. And I didn't understand, and I was so upset with him. But I felt like he was telling me that everything's going to be okay. I actually did feel like he was sitting beside me in the passenger seat of that car. Um, when I had my head down on the steering wheel, crying and weeping, I actually could feel like someone's maybe even trying to stroke my back to calm me down, to make me feel better, to say, hey, let it out, let it go. Um, so I actually feel like in that moment, my mom was there too, to be honest with you. So I felt like God and my mom was there in that one moment and just kind of telling me, Ray, it's going to be okay. I'm good. God's with you. I'm with you, and everything's going to work out just fine. I consider that moment in the car when I was crying and yelling at God a God moment because I felt like God and I finally came face to face. For 2 months, I was pushing it off. I was I tried to stop going to church, but of course, my grandma made me go anyway. And I was done with them. I was like, I'm done with God. I'm done with church. I'm just do what I want to do. I was thinking about stop trying to go to college. I was just gonna live a life of whateverness, if you want to call it like that. So I felt like God was trying to tell me in that moment that, hey, look, I know you're mad at me, and that I am the master of all things. Just trust me in this one, and there's a reason why things happen. And if you just follow me and just kind of go with with what's going on in your life right now, everything will work out for the best. Life, it was difficult for me. It was my junior year of high school. I got through my senior year. Uh, I planned on going to college, and there's a lot of moments that I had personally, achievements that I wish she was there. So it was kind of rough for me. Luckily, I had my grandmother was there, my sister, my brother. I had some good friends at the time, that had my back. But there's nothing like doing things and trying to please your mom, especially as a man. You want to show mom, look, I'm doing good. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Um, and so I feel like even with her passing, that there was some good days and bad days, but I always felt like she was there. My mom had a Burgundy 1990 Pontiac Bonneville. So when she passed away, my grandmother gave me the car. I felt like my mom was a piece of that car. So because of that, the dent that I got into the car when I ran into the pole, I decided not to get it fixed. And that car meant a lot to me. And I felt like that was a way my mom kind of watching over me. That car got me through high school, through college, and it got me up until my first day of work after I graduated college. And the first day of the job, everything was fine. The morning went well. And then it was time for lunch. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go out for lunch on my first day, try to treat myself. And so I went out to the parking lot, tried to start up the car, and it wouldn't start. I had some guys kind of check it out from the office that knew about some cars, and it was like they don't know what's going on with it. And I couldn't quite understand why. I knew I was having car problems, but it wasn't making any sounds. It wasn't turning over or anything. So then I remember I walked across the street. There was this used car dealership. And I said, the worst thing you can say to a used car dealer, I said, hey, look, I just started my new job. I don't have any money. Can you please help me get a car? So, of course, the used car salesman gets me probably the worst car on the lot. But it was a car, and it got me around. And as I bought that car and as I signed those papers, I felt something coming over me again. I felt like it was my mom being with me through high school, through college, up to my first day of my new job. And see, when she got me there, I felt like it was her saying, hey, look, I got you here. You're a man now. You're working. I'm always going to be there with you. But this is me saying, hey, look, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. And I told you I wasn't going to let you down. And I've always been with you, and I'll continue to be with you. It's funny how God sometimes you'll feel like he's bringing you back to bring you forward. And I felt like that's how it was with my mom. There's a lot of ways I could have went. I could have went down the wrong road. I could have went down this path. And one thing I could have done was I could have said, well, this is justified to go this way because God let me down or my mom let me down. But instead of doing that, I took that anger that I had when I was crying in the parking lot and mad at God and just wanted to curse him out. I tried to take that in a positive way. So I tried to say, okay, I'm going to graduate from high school. Okay, I'm going to graduate from college with honors. I'm going to have a job before I graduate college, which I did all of those things. I'm going to be successful, which I feel like I have. I'm going to raise a son. I'm going to have a wife, so I'm going to do all these things to and be successful. So in my mind, I'm thinking that, okay, she's looking down at me. She's proud of me of what I've done. And my name is her name, and I can continue to shine for her. So, and it's nothing you really get over. I mean, even to this day, I sometimes look at folks, and I have a son now, and I wish a lot that my mom was here just to see him, just to hold him, just to play with him, just to see what I created. And it's so cool to see him sometimes, and I wish my mom was here to see that. So it's not that I forgot my mom or it still doesn't bother me sometimes. It still does. But you have to understand that God and things happen for a reason. There are things in life that you don't quite understand and want to know why God, why is this happening to me? Why is that happening? Why didn't I get this? Why didn't I get that? And you just have to know and realize and trust in God that maybe that's not best for you, or that's not your lane, or that's not what you're supposed to do, or this is supposed to happen to you so you can be this. To just believe and trust in God and let him order your steps and everything to work out the way it's supposed to.